He goes up to him and he says, hey, I saw a dream last night. What do you think about that? What's the interpretation of that? And then Joseph interprets it and says that what that means is that you're going to die in 3 days and be crucified, and the birds are going to eat from your head. The man says, you're a liar because I never saw that. Actually, I was tricking you. And then Joseph's response was, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ الَّذِي فِيهِ تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ. It's done. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الإمام والمهديين وسلم تسليما. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Walaikum salam.
How are you, my dear sister Alexandra Mary Foreman?
I'm good, thank you, Father. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So today we want to talk about a topic that's extremely important to you, and to a lot of people, and it should be important to everybody. And that is the topic of dreams. Now, I know that this is a topic that you are really passionate about, especially because you've been gifted with the ability to see very vivid dreams on an almost nightly basis. Why don't you give us a few words for our viewers about, your relationship with dreaming?
Sure. Yeah, I think my relationship with dreaming is just something that's really important to me. I've always felt like there's meaning behind dreams, but I didn't really understand it. And now I just feel like that's a communication with God, where I can get messages. I don't always understand them myself, but it's just something that's very important to me, and it means a lot to me.
Good. So today we're going to look at the history of dreaming, like how dreaming came to be and what its purpose is. We'll look at the types of dreams that people have, and what else can the tool of dreaming or seeing be used for. So in terms of dreaming, the narrations of Muhammad and the family of Muhammad, peace be upon them, they state that there was a time where human beings were on the earth and they didn't dream at all. In fact, they would go to sleep and they would wake up and it would be, they wouldn't see anything. And there was a prophet that was sent to them. And this prophet was Prophet Adam, alayhi salam, and he began to tell them about this other world that people go to when they're resurrected from the dead, like and that there's a hereafter, there's a paradise, there's a hellfire. He was describing these things to them, warning them, and giving them glad tidings of the world to come. And the people, when they looked at their dead ones, they would see that, that they would go to sleep. They would never wake up. Their bones, would manifest. Their skin would decay, and they thought to themselves, "This can never be. We have never seen anybody from our dead raised back up again. What you're saying, we're not sure if it's true." And so God made the prophet tell them to go to sleep, and tonight he will show you without a shadow of a doubt that there is a world beyond. And then the people went to sleep, and that is when they saw the very first dream. Each and every one of them saw scenes in that world while they were asleep, and then they came to believe after that it is possible.
Wow.
So the origin of dreaming started off actually, with a prophet, and it was the first prophet. Before that, they didn't dream, and its purpose was to kind of give them a communication with God and serve as a window for people to get a glimpse of a world that's to come, and to kind of show people how It's the spirit that would disconnect from the body and go on to enjoy this world. Before, they couldn't understand that. After they had the dreams, they understood that, okay, well, there's this aspect of me then that travels out of my body when I'm in a state of sleep or after death, and that can see different things even though my eyes are not open, and they can hear different things in another world, even though my ears in this physical world can't hear them. So that is the origin of it, and it continued to serve after that as a tool for prophecy, whereby God would send people messages in the dream. See, sleep and death are their brothers, and this is a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad. He said that sleep is the brother of death. The difference between the two is that in one of them, which is sleep, the soul leaves the body, but it's still connected to it. So if you imagine like an umbilical cord that's connected, or a rope that's connected between a ray of light that's connected between the body and between the spirit. So the spirit travels outside of the body. It goes into the layers of the heavens above, or the skies above, and it is in those layers where there exist these other worlds and these images and these news that people are able to get a glimpse of. You can't see it with your physical body because our physical eyes only perceive like 5% of all light, but the spirit outside of the body, it gets to see these other worlds that are existing simultaneously in our skies or heavens above. And that's why the jinn, if you know, in the hadith of the Prophet Muhammad and in the Quran, it says that they ascend into the skies in order to hear news of the unseen. They're spying, right? They're trying to grab information from the ether, from the heavens above. And it says the Prophet Muhammad says in the Quran says that, whenever they try to steal news from those areas, they're hit by comets. All right. So now we have something from the unseen, which is taking place in our physical skies, which is these jinn that are invisible to our eyes, that are stealing information, which that information is also invisible to our physical eyes. But there's these comets that we can see, and it's known in Islam that anytime a person will see a comet in the sky, that's because it was aimed as a weapon. So the comet kind of penetrates different worlds. Okay, and this is a concept which is very important for people to understand. And even in Al-Haft Sharif and some of the other sacred manuscripts of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, the sun, the moon, the planets, they're described as looking that way or appearing that way, that we see them as these, circular, round spherical objects that are in the sky that shine, that we think of as planets, but in other worlds or outside of the physical body, they take on a different appearance, right? Wow. So the soul during sleep, he will ascend just like the jinn have the ability to do outside of the body, and it will get information from the heavens, and depending on how high they can go, how high they can go into the sky, or which level of heavens does it reach, that's how much information they have access to. And so somebody like Balaam ibn Ba'ura, who was a prophet at the status of Moses, but for the Gentiles, for the non-Jews, it says about him in the Islamic narrations that he was able to see everything underneath the throne of God, meaning that he had reached to the highest point in the heavens above, so he could see everything in the seven heavens. So he had access to like a lot of information because his soul, had the ability to travel so far. And the more further up you get, the more accurate the information is. The lower levels, where if in this physical dunya skies, if your spirit is in this area, sometimes the information is incorrect, or not all of it's correct, because it gets tainted by the shayateen, by the devils. And so other narrations from the Ahl Bayt alayhim salam, they explain that what happens sometimes is that a soul will go up, it will get information, see a vision that's from God, and on its way back down to its body, the shaitans or the devils will come and they'll try to throw a piece of misinformation mixed with the true information that they gathered. And one example of this was a vision that Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam had in one narration. So basically, Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the wife of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, she wakes up from this dream, right? And she's extremely disturbed by it, but she don't say anything. And then the Prophet Muhammad comes to her and they go on a walk together, And as she's walking with her father down the road, she sees something and then she starts, to cry. And then, the Prophet's asking her what's wrong. She doesn't say anything. They continue walking. And, the further they go along the road, she's becoming more and more terrified, more and more hysterical. Until finally she confesses to her father that she had this dream, and she says that I had this dream where we were doing exactly as we're doing now. You came to pick me up. We went on a walk. We passed by this. We passed by that. Everything that I saw in the dream is exactly as it's taking place now. Except that in the end of the dream, you had died. And I'm afraid now, and that's why I'm crying, and that's why I'm sad, because I don't want you to die, my father. Right? So when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he heard this, he summoned forward the devil. He calls him forward, and the devil comes and appears in front of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and his family. And he asks him, "Are you the one that's responsible for what my daughter saw?" And then the devil confesses that yes, he is. So, the Prophet spits and expels him, and he puts Fatima's heart at ease that not to believe in that. And then the verse from the Quran came down that verily al-najwa is from the shaitan, meaning verily bad dreams are from the devil, in order to make those who believe sad, but don't pay attention to them. They don't have any authority over you except for what God, permits. And so this verse came down about this bad dream that Fatima had had. And in this bad dream, she had saw a premonition, a prophecy of the very events that were to take place that day, except that there was a detail about it that was wrong, that was added into her dream by the devil. And the reason why the devil does these things is to get us in a state of depression and to make us sad. So that's interesting now that we know. And now we know that all bad dreams that make us sad are automatically infiltrated by the devil. Like he twisted, something in it to make us sad. So anything that makes us feel bad, we automatically disregard it and we seek refuge with God from the devil. And that's actually why in the hadith from the Prophet Muhammad, we're told that if you wake up and you have a dream that's a bad dream, the thing that you do is kind of that you look over your shoulder and you spit 3 times, right? To kind of, expel the devil from there, as a reminder that all bad dreams come from the devil. The God is above and beyond, using his communications, these precious moments where his creatures receive information from him. He doesn't use these moments to terrify human beings. God is above and beyond that, and he's gentle and he's peaceful and he's loving and he's kind. But the one who does seek to make people sad and terrify them is always the devil.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a comforting piece of information, and a key that I think all believers should keep and put in their pockets. So then we get to, okay, then what about real dreams or true dreams from God? Like what categories, or dreams in general? What other categories are they broken down to? And we have 3 categories. We have dreams that are true dreams. We have dreams that are warnings, and we have dreams that are reflective dreams. Okay? And so true dreams are dreams that are purely from God, that have an untainted message. The devil did not infiltrate it. And these are the types of dreams that you wake up from, and there's like a glad tidings in it. You might have woken up from the dream. You might have asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if this dawah is true, please show me that this dawah is true. And then the person goes to sleep and he has a vision of the Prophet Muhammad, or he has a vision of Jesus or one of the prophets, and they're confirming or putting their hearts at ease that, that this path is the true path. An example from the Quran of a true dream that would be, for example, the dream of Joseph, when he wakes up as a child and he says to his father Jacob, "Verily, I saw 11 planets and the sun and the moon. I saw them that they were all prostrating to me." So this is a glad tidings from God to Joseph. It felt good. It meant good. It meant that that he would have a special position in the future. So this is the true dream from God, and it's the angels that carry this news, and they're bringing it down into the heavens, and the Spirit is going up, and so the Spirit takes this news from the angels that are showing it to the Spirit, and the Spirit successfully brings it back down to the body, and it remains in the conscious mind. Somebody had asked before, this is just a side note before we continue into the types of dreams, why is it that people forget dreams? And Imam Abdullah Hashem Aba Al-Sadiq, he clarified that the main reason why people don't remember their dreams, there are 2 reasons really why people don't remember their dreams. One, they don't remember their dreams because of sins. So too many sins. Actively disobeying God and doing things that are against the moral consciousness of a human being, right? Like the good conscious of a human being, doing things that are forbidden by God to do, hurting other people, hurting yourself. All of these acts will cause there to be a blockage. You'll be cut off from the kingdoms of the heavens. You'll be unable to remember your dreams that you have at night. And another reason why people don't necessarily dream or have dreams, although everybody kind of has dreams, but it's just more about the remembering of the dreams, or how much of the how far you can go in the heavens in order to obtain full truths, or to what extent are the dreams important. But a factor is also the amount of DMT that exists in a person, in a human being. So DMT, it's kind of this substance that's produced naturally in the brain. It's released when a human being dies, and there are many books about it. And it also can be manufactured and made into like a drug form that people can use that induces these visions. So it is this substance. Some people are born with a lot of it, and some people don't have a lot of it. And the people that have a lot of it tend to dream more, and they're actually also more sensitive to drugs in general, and they're more psychic, so to speak, right? Because of this substance. And this is the spirit molecule that books have been written about, and that the prophets and the messengers referred to, although they didn't refer to it obviously as DMT, because and that's a whole episode that we're going to talk about in the future. But these are the reasons why a person might have more dreams than normal, and or why they might not remember their dreams. Other examples of the types of dreams are the warning dreams, and so sometimes we will get a dream that is not necessarily like a bad dream, but it's a dream that makes us like stop and think for a moment, right? These dreams that we see something in it that kind of a little bit like causes us to change our lifestyle or our path. It makes us question it and kind of move in the opposite direction. And these are dreams that are also from God, and God gives it to a human being. And sometimes they might be dreams that make us uncomfortable, but not like afraid. They're not like scary dreams, gory dreams, or dreams that but it's like a little bit of a chastisement of a dream, whereby a person might see himself, for example, walking down a dark forest one night, and or he might see in a dream all of his friends leaving him and him being left alone, something of this nature, and when the person wakes up from this dream, he knows or she knows why it is that they saw this particular dream, and immediately they attribute it to some sort of behavior or action that they have made. They're like, oh, that happened because I was really mean to my friends, or I did this or this, so it's kind of like a warning dream to tell them, hey, correct this, or else it's going to lead to a bad place.
Okay.
And usually God sends these corrective dreams to individuals that he sees in them goodness, and he sees in them a potential to be on the right path. And dreams in general, all good dreams that come from God, its ultimate purpose is to guide people to the straight path. And people will continue to see good dreams as long as there is any goodness in them, or any hope of them actually believing in God. And so by that, we know that true dreams are accessible for for Muslims, so they're accessible for Christians, they're accessible for Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, atheists, anybody who, even if they're in a really dark place today, or they're non-believers today, have the potential to eventually one day believe, because they are of a good nature, they can have access to a true dream. So true dreams is not something which is exclusive, or these communications with God is not something which is exclusive only to the believer. The third type of dreams are the reflective dreams. And these types of dreams are the types of dreams that kind of are confusing, and sometimes God will give these dreams to people that bear enmity or hatred towards his messenger, and to show them their own reality, and to make them go away from the believers, or from the path that they're on, or to increase them in their own transgression and lead them astray, because he knows that they have no goodness in them, and they've proven that through their actions and their constant fighting of the messenger. And for example, there was a dream that somebody had with Ahmed Hassan salam, and one day they publicly stated to the Imam in front of everybody, and it's somebody who had constantly fought against the Imam and was abusing him for no reason. And so one day he comes in front of everybody and he says, I had a dream that you were swimming in dirty water, right? And the Imam's response was, no, that wasn't me that you saw swimming in the dirty water. It was your own self. That's the meaning of the dream, because the individual, the brother is a mirror to his brother, right?
Yeah.
And so a person can have these reflective dreams that express what is already made up in their own mind.
Yeah.
In the own mind of this individual, he had already made up it, and decided that the Imam is false, that the Imam is all of the knowledge that he preaches is dirty, and water in dreams means knowledge. And so therefore that person sees Ahmed al-Hassan salam in the dirty water, but in reality it's because of his own mind is dirty, and he already has this image of the Imam being dirty. So God just shows him what is already in his own self and what he already thinks of the Imam. So this is not a confirmation dream. This is a dream which is reflective, and God's giving the person what he already decided and what he already thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way that it works also with istikhara. So with istikhara and with dreams, Alex, they only work, it only works to ask a God and to receive an answer. So if you're ever confused about something, and istikhara is like when you're casting lots, right? Or you open up the Quran and you lay your eyes on a verse. These are all methods of communicating with God in order to obtain an answer in a time of confusion.
Yeah.
And they always tell you, and it's mentioned in the hadith of the Ahl Bayt, that these things only work if you truly are seeking a non-biased answer from God. So if in your mind you're hoping that so let's say you're confused, right, on whether or not you should call your mother. You've cut off ties with her for a very long time. Okay, she did bad things to you, and you don't know, should I contact her or should I not contact her? I'm worried that if I do contact her, bad things are going to happen. But at the same time, I have a longing in my heart to contact her. I really don't know what to do. Okay, and you don't have access to the prophet or messenger of your time. So a person in something like this, or a person that somebody might come to them to propose. Somebody comes to you, maybe Brother Surmad. He comes to you and he says, I would like to marry you. I want your hand in marriage. And you're unsure. Should I marry Surmad? Should I not marry Surmad? Is this going to be good for me, or is it going to be bad for me? And so you decide to ask God. And usually people, when they ask God, this becomes what is called an istikhara. And you receive that answer from God either in a dream or by opening up the Quran and looking at the verse, or casting lots, or any of these methods.
Yeah.
It will only work if you are both options for you, to marry or not to marry, are equal.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And two, if you're willing to 100% submit to whatever answer you get.
Okay. So if you have an idea in your head, you'll basically be shown what you want to see.
Exactly.
Regardless.
So
Okay.
if you already made up your mind that you're going to marry Surmad anyway, and you don't care regardless, like you'll just do another istikhara and another istikhara and another istikhara until you get the outcome that's desired, or you're going to disregard it. And God won't even partake in the istikhara. He won't answer you, but instead the devil comes in and he answers you.
Wow.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So the same thing are with these reflective dreams. This is exactly what that is. It's a response that is given to the person, which is kind of giving them what they already want to see. They want to see and they believe, that somebody's in a negative light, so they'll see it as they expect it to be. Because they've already made up their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a communication from God showing a person what's already inside of his own self. And it is a method whereby the devil will lead the individual astray.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. So God will show Ahmed Hassan in the dirty water, and then the devil comes and says, see, your thoughts were real. Just go with it now. Walk away from this man, or continue to attack him, or whatever it is that is expected to be.
Wow. Yeah, that's so interesting. It's really interesting to me, the dream you mentioned before, that the devil could come in and so there could be a dream that was coming true, and then the devil could just add some information into it, make it scary. Mm-hmm. But also with the warning dreams, sometimes those dreams, if it's a warning about something serious, sometimes those dreams would be scary as well. Is there a way to differentiate between the devil coming in and causing confusion in a dream and a true warning in a dream?
Absolutely. So if you see in a dream, like a devil, then for sure this is a dream from the devil. Okay? If you see in the dream a prophet or a messenger, then anytime you see in there a prophet, a messenger, an imam from God, the devil can never take the image of that prophet or that messenger. And whatever the prophet or the messenger says in the dream is to be taken, 100% as the word of God.
So basically, any dream where you're seeing a prophet or messenger, that is 100% a true dream.
What he says,
right,
is 100% a true dream. So we go back to the dream of Fatima Zahra. Fatima Zahra, she had this dream, right, where she saw the Prophet Muhammad and she's walking with him.
Yeah.
The devil cannot affect the dream by making the Prophet Muhammad say something that is not true. It will never happen. But what the devil did is give the illusion to Fatima Zahra. So she didn't see the Prophet necessarily dying, but she gets the illusion somehow in the dream. Maybe the Prophet went out of the picture, and then the very end of the dream, she sees the scene maybe where she's at a funeral or something like that, right? Mm. So he'll affect the interpretation, and he'll inject something that's not true. But anytime that you see a prophet or a messenger say something, then it is from God. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah.
So those are the types of dreams that a person might have. And to go back to your question, basically, how do I know if the dream is from God or from the devil? We mentioned it before, that any dream that you wake up from and it makes you sad, this is from the devil. Okay, or it's at least infiltrated by the devil. God communicates in dreams with people through symbols. Okay, and through allegories.
Yeah.
Except if it's in the speech of a prophet or a messenger, it might happen as you saw it, or, their words might be advice that you would need to follow literally. But mainly when God speaks to human beings, he speaks to them in the language of the Spirit. And the language of the Spirit is in images and forms, rather than it being a scenario that's playing out. And also, this is the speech of the angels. They show pictures.
Okay, like the dream of the prisoner who was with Joseph, and he dreamed that he saw birds pecking at his head,
Mm-hmm.
and that meant that he was going to be crucified.
Exactly.
But it would have been hard for him to work that out himself from the dream, I imagine.
Exactly. So, yeah, and I want to tell you something interesting about that, by the way, and it's also a warning of how dangerous it is to lie about dreams, and how we have to always consider and treat dreams as being the words of God. So it's like sacred. If you lie against the Quran, or you make up verses, in the Bible that are not part of it, you'll open up yourself to receiving a curse from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the same thing is true for dreams. If you say that you saw something in a dream and you didn't see it, it's the same thing happens, where you open yourself up to receiving a curse from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So dreams are treated in Islam as being at the same level of sanctity and holiness almost as the holy scriptures of God. And the Prophet Muhammad, he treated them as such, and he would always ask his companions what they saw, and he would be treating them as if they were inspiration from God, just like Gabriel would bring down a message on it, and he's interested in receiving that message. And the same thing with his companions. He'd be interested to hear what their dreams were, and to receive from that information that would apply to his community. There's a hadith that states that actually the dreamers that were with Joseph, these cellmates that were with him, that when they went to Joseph, and the guy tells Joseph, the prisoner, the inmate, tells Joseph, because he heard him like interpreting dreams of other people day and night. So he kind of was skeptical. He had that dad voice, or whatever voice was telling him, hey, like, this is nonsense, don't believe in that.
Yeah.
And so what did he do? He decides that he is going to test Joseph and prove that he's lying.
Oh, right.
And so the narration states that he makes up the dream. He goes up to him and he says, hey, I saw a dream last night, that there was, crows that were eating from my head, and I was carrying like this basket on my head of bread, and they're eating from it. What do you think about that? What's the interpretation of that? And then Joseph interprets it and says that what that means is that you're going to die in 3 days and be crucified, and the birds are going to eat from your head. And then in response to that, the man says, you're a liar because I never saw that. Actually, I was tricking you.
Oh,
and then Joseph's response was, قُضِيَ الْأَمْرُ الَّذِي فِيهِ تَسْتَفْتِيَانِ. The matter in which you guys were asking about has now been determined. It's done.
Wow.
Meaning what? Meaning, if you lie about a dream and it's interpreted or not interpreted, a lie about a dream could make the curse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fall down upon you, and it could make the dream which you were lying about actually to come true, even if it wasn't true that you saw it.
Wow, that's amazing. So that man, he was never going to be crucified before
he was never going to be crucified, but now because he made up a dream, and that was actually, he made up a dream because he don't know the symbols of dreams. When Joseph interpreted it, and that's what it meant, it ended up being true. And then 3 days later, he was crucified, and the other guy who was honest about his dream, he ends up being released, to the one who saw that he was squeezing the grapes, to make wine for his master.
Wow.
Yeah, so dreams are an extremely holy topic, and a holy science, and the dreams of people were and are to be taken seriously, and they were taken seriously by the ancient peoples. And there were even particular women that were like prophetesses and individuals that were seen as oracles, or constantly getting visions, and they were made to live in temples and kind of float in pools of water, and their job would be to constantly receive for the king or for the governor or for the people that would visit the temple information. And we have examples of prophets that would go and visit oracles for information, like Socrates. We have also Alexander the Great, and other than them, that would consult dreamers. You have, I mentioned it before, the Prophet Muhammad consulting his companions about the types of dreams that they had. Joseph interpreting the dreams. Jacob was a dreamer. Abraham was praised for following his dream and rewarded for that. And we spoke before about how any prophet, in order to even be considered to be a prophet, he had to take his dreams seriously, because that was the step that preceded prophethood and that continued after prophethood itself. And we have something which is called lucid dreaming that people ask about, and I think we'll end on that note for now, since we've been talking for a while. But the lucid dreaming is the type of dream whereby an individual goes to sleep and he sees things in his dream or travels somewhere in his dream, but he's able to control the events of the dream consciously. So he's in the dream consciously aware that he or she is dreaming, and they're able to manipulate the dream or explore in the dream or do whatever it is that they want to do in the dream. And these types of dreams are not considered to be communications from God at all, nor are they communications from the devil or any other entity. But lucid dreams are actually not dreams at all. They're fact that is taking place on the ground. A lucid dream is when the spirit manages to successfully travel to another world, which we call the world of reality or the world of truth, alim al-haqiqa. And this is the kind of like the world of the true forms that Socrates and Plato spoke about, and where this soul is able to kind of take a walk in the park during the night, and then return back to its body. So whatever he sees there, it actually took place. It actually happened. He actually experienced these things while he was sleeping, but none of it is reflective of a prophecy that is going to happen in this physical world. Rather, it's all pertaining to that world that he was visiting in.
Okay, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it's actually something that an individual can train themselves to know how to do. There's different techniques and methods that a person can practice in order to, to obtain this gift. So yeah, that's in short. And inshallah, maybe we can do a whole episode about traveling through the astral planes and exploring also the techniques that the prophets gave, like Krishna and Arjuna and Buddha and other than them, and what they spoke about meditation and the mind and dreams, and how a person can actually use the brain or the mind to travel to distant planets and worlds and places in the heavens, and also mention how there's a lot of declassified documents from the CIA and special programs that America and the FBI had implemented, whereby they realized that the mind is such a powerful tool, and they they document in there that they basically brought people, citizens or soldiers, and they trained them on how to remote view distant locations in order to obtain information from the ether, from the heavens, about events that are going to take place or events that are happening right now. So they were able to spot enemy ships that were in the ocean, satellites. They were able to see events that took place on other planets, including Mars. There's a famous document which speaks about how how an individual is able to travel back in time and to see, and in his body, his dream body was able to manifest on Mars, and even one of the creatures over there became aware of him, and he saw how Mars was inhabited before by creatures, and how it became extinct, and you see then that the CIA, the FBI, the government is treating this information, and they're writing documents on it, and they're treating it like it's gold. They're believing in it, and it's crazy how the prophets and the messengers, they took these visions and these dreams and these experiences as real, and they put a strong emphasis on it. And even today, now it has become in the open clear that governments and agencies and people who are extremely intelligent and in very high positions, and have a lot of credentials, have taken also the information that a person's mind can get from the ether extremely seriously. And those two things alone should make a person reflect and seek to develop their own seeing abilities, and to use the eye of the mind as a tool to communicate with God and His angels, and to discover the hidden realms of the unseen. Well, anyway, God bless you, Alexandra, and I look forward to another episode, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. That was incredible and really mind-blowing. It was just so amazing to hear everything that you've just said, and I think it's showing us that dreams is just really like a way out of the limitations that we face living in this world. Strengthening our connection with God. And it was really amazing to hear that Adam gave the first people these dreams, and that's what made them believe in other worlds. And thank you so much. It was really incredible to hear.
Thank you so much. God bless you, and thank you for believing in your dreams, Alexandra, and for being brave enough to take your dreams so seriously, and to follow in the footsteps of the prophets and the messengers, that you came out of a British society, and dreams were part of the reason that you believed in this dawah, and part of the reason why you would go from a background that is so foreign to what it is that we believe in, and would make you hold on so tight to the will of the Prophet Muhammad, and to Ahmed Hassan, and to me. God bless you. May God increase in your dreams always, and it's always a pleasure to hear them from you. And our viewers, maybe they don't know this, but you're one of our greatest dreamers here in the community. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, Father. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.